while political parties in South Africa have been critiquing the president's State of the Nation address, calling it all vision and dreams and short of details. It's really the business community that he will have to win over, because the business community has the power to turn dreams and fund them into reality. Did Ramaphosa win them over, and what should he do to make hay while the sun shines? Here's my interview with Adrian Saville, CEO of Cannon Asset Managers.
If we take Eskom as the example, bailouts are not a plan, but Eskom is critically in need of 3 bailouts: financial, operational and technological. I would venture that Eskom is technologically redundant. Operationally, it is on the back foot, and financially, it is in deep trouble. So there's actually 3 bailouts that I think need to happen. But in SONA, the observation is made that we are going to accelerate the financing of Eskom. But there is not an equivalent acknowledgement or equal acknowledgement that, and this is also going to put strain on the fiscus. And our strategy requires those tough choices to be acknowledged, that I'm taking the choice to accelerate the funding. That will require other sacrifices. And I think I don't think this is ungenerous or uncharitable to make the observation that the administration has got into the habit of just not taking choices, and that we are sort of stumbling and stuttering along in this. Maybe the dream, to say with that analogy, is this: we're in sort of that place between asleep and awake. Where you sort of think that you're dreaming, but you're not. That state. That's what it feels like.
Adrian, among some of the targets the president set is that he wants an economy that grows faster than the population rate.
Sure.
The population rate grows at 1.55%.
Yeah.
So surely if he hits, 1.6, he's achieved his targets. But that's not what we need, especially if we're basing our future based on the National Development Plan, which requires us to grow at 5.
Yeah.
Why is there is it deliberate, do you think? It's politics that the president was blasé to that fact?
So the 1.5% economic growth, or 1.5% population growth, you're absolutely right. To stand still on a per capita basis, we need the economy to grow at least as fast as the population. That hasn't been happening, and over the last decade, we have the economy and population almost level pegging. So I'd refer to this as a lost decade, in more ways than one. So the simple math says the South African economy must grow faster than population, and then you have the prospect of improving, or then you will have improving per person incomes. But that also implies that the all ships rise with the tide, and we know that isn't the reality either. That South Africa suffers from jobless growth, and that we don't just need the economy to grow quick, we need the economy to grow quick with absorptive growth, and that requires structural adjustment. That the architecture, the engineering of the economy needs to be entirely revisited, reshaped.
Do you find government is dynamic about those things?
No.
Because
so that's not happening.
I don't know. I may be a cynic, but I say this about government, that they keep coming up with new plans, new programs that you hear about during every State of the Nation, and this year we had 2, but it's not really helping when you are not acknowledging what is working and what is not.
No, so these are book reports. So the NDP is an ambitious plan. It's an admirable program. It's been in place now since the early part of this decade. And in no year have we come remotely close to achieving the 5.4 economic growth. At some point then, the policymaker has to go back to the drawing board and say, well, hang on, there is a yawning deficit between what we've proposed and what we're achieving.
Well, in this case, the policymaker, who now happens to be the president, was the chair of the National Planning Commission. Is Cyril Ramaphosa just too married to this document to see that it doesn't really speak to realistic targets for South Africa?
I don't think that that's the issue. So the policy proposal is level-headed, it's sensible, it holds water as a proposal. The deficit sits between the idea and the implementation. And it's here that I think South Africa has established itself as a big talker that's short on delivery.
Adrian, I need to ask you something else which I thought was odd. The president gets there and he says that government has 7 priority areas. It has 5 goals. The priority areas don't speak to the goals at all. They seem devoid of each other. And they speak about the fact that no one should go hungry and things like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't really say how people will not go hungry.
Exactly. And that is the deficit. There is I want to be prosperous. Okay, how? And once you've said the how, that's the path, that's the avenue, that's the channel that you're going to pursue. Right, now let's implement it. And that implementation is about short, near-term deliverables that get from the talk into the action. Ellen Sirleaf Johnson, who headed Liberia, was extraordinary in this avenue. She set 100-day goals. So we have a 2030 policy proposal. If you get to 2030 and you haven't delivered, it's a bit late, for corrective action. So what I would appeal is for these ambitious long-term goals to be broken down into short-term deliverables, and as short as over the next 100 days, here's what you're going to see.